After the Bucks' recent loss to the Brooklyn Nets, I saw this quote where Giannis Antetokounmpo said, "We gotta find an identity. We don't have that right now." That stood out to me. It's still very early in the season, not even 5 games for him to say that. You could tell that there's some concern on their part. I'm going to break down some game footage of their latest loss to the Boston Celtics, which may answer this question as to what is their identity or what are they lacking in order to have one. But before I break down the game footage, let's paint this picture more as to what's going on. Just a couple of weeks ago, before the regular season, Giannis said that he may get traded if they don't win a championship. You don't hear that a lot from your superstar player to flat out say something like that. And after the Brooklyn Nets loss, listen to this quote that Damian Lillard had to say. "Me and him got to be able to hold each other accountable." This is Dame talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo. "And I don't mean yelling at each other all the time. I just mean like I got to be able to say something to you. And you got to be able to say something to me at all times." He's always had to put his foot down in Milwaukee and kind of lead the charge and be kind of like the man to push it forward. And I've always been that way in Portland. And I think now that we together, we both got to look over and say, this is a top 75 player too, and I got to trust him to carry this with me. Those are very candid remarks from Damian Lillard. From the sounds of it, it looks like there's some chemistry issues. Not that they don't like each other and there's some personal stuff going on between them. I'm talking on the court, adjusting their games to how one another plays. That's also where a Doc Rivers will have to come in. He's going to have to try to find some offensive scheme to get those guys going. Though in this quote, Dame didn't allude to anything about the coaching. It was just about him and Giannis Antetokounmpo getting on the same page. Now, I didn't get to watch the Brooklyn game like I did this Boston Celtics one. Just looking over at the box score, though, a couple things stand out to me. Number one, Giannis Antetokounmpo only took 11 shot attempts. He did have 11 free throw attempts. Damian Lillard only took 13 shot attempts. He did have 11 free throw attempts as well. They scored about 22, 21 each. You're going to need more from your top players. Also, the Milwaukee Bucks shot 30% from the three-point line in this game. They went 10 for 33. On the other hand, when you look at the Brooklyn Nets, it's not that they shot a really high percentage themselves. Then the shooters scored 29 points. I understand somebody got to score on the team. Not trying to say Dennis Schroeder is a bad player or anything, but if you're a top championship team, then you got to hold a player like Dennis to about 14, 15 points max. He's not even known as a scorer. To be honest, when I watch him, he's more of a pass-first point guard at times. Cam Thomas going for 32, I can more understand that. He's a young, up-and-coming player. He's known for that ability to put the ball in the hole. Let's start the breakdown of this footage of the game between the Bucks and the Celtics. Since I actually watched it, I could go a lot more deeper than just looking at the numbers. On this first play, you're going to see Derek White try to get the ball to Jaylen Brown, who's guarded by Lopez. Instead, he passes it back out and he points towards the paint. I don't know if y'all can see that. As we speed it back up, Derek White is going to flash towards where he pointed. Jaylen Brown gets the ball back and he beats Brook Lopez off the dribble. However, Lopez makes up for it with the block. The reason why I'm showing y'all this is because I noticed with the Bucks, a lot of times teams will do this. They'll bring Lopez out on a switch, or if he's guarding somebody on the perimeter, and they'll try to exploit that. However, as you see on this occasion, Lopez was able to recover with the big play. On this possession, you see Horford give the ball to Tatum. Then Horford sets a screen. Tatum gets a quick step on Lopez, just enough to get to the rim. Giannis does a great job to try to contest the shot, playing help defense. Unfortunately, Tatum makes a very difficult basket. And it's not that Lopez played bad defense. He had 4 blocks. I want to put that out there. I'm just showing y'all how all it took was that one step, that mismatch, and Tatum got the basket that he needed. With that out the way, it's still only right I show y'all why Brook Lopez plays a huge role in the Bucks' identity. As most of y'all know, he is a huge rim protector, known for his defense, specifically when he's around the rim. And back in the day, before he had that rim protector status that he made into what we know as today, along with his three-point shot, he was a really great post player. And as you see on these plays, there's a lot of high-low actions where Giannis is at the top, he's hitting Lopez in the post, and he's going to work like he's on the team back in the day with the Brooklyn Nets. And if Giannis was a better shooter, this would be such a dangerous combination that the Bucks could use, since anytime he throws the ball down to Lopez, you notice that his defender fades away from him and double teams Lopez in the post. But if he was able to shoot, you couldn't do that. It gives him an opportunity in the post, Brook Lopez, to go single coverage. Or if you're playing Giannis a little bit too tight on the perimeter, he could blow by you, then catch a pass going full speed towards the basket because of his athleticism and get either an easy dunk or foul and go to the free throw line. Now, speaking of using players as a combination, this is the one that I think needs a lot more work. In my opinion, there was many more moments where they should have capitalized off of this two-man game with each other setting picks. As you see on this play, it was probably the best one that I saw. Giannis sets the screen. Derek White gets caught up in Giannis's physical body trying to get around him. Damian Lillard comes on the other side. Al Horford is dropped way back. That's way too much space for a guy like Dame. Probably because he got to account for Giannis going to the rim and getting an easy basket due to his own athleticism. Dame shoots a three-pointer. This is a play that should be like Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire. They should be running this play at least every other possession. It's too much of a threat where you got Giannis rolling to the basket for an easy lob or finish around the rim, or Dame pops up for a three-point shot. As a defense, you got to pick your poison. I did say Amari Stoudemire and Steve Nash. Amari had a much better consistent jump shot mid-range than Giannis, but Amari couldn't finish around the rim and dunk with the leaping ability that Giannis has. And yes, Dame can't pass the way Steve Nash did, but as good as a shooter Steve Nash was, Dame is in a whole different league. And speaking of Damian Lillard, to get into him, I don't have a lot more plays other than what I showed you. Most of his points came from the free throw line. He shot 18 attempts and made 17 out of 18. That was really what he did for the whole game. Let's get to the defensive side of the basketball, the issues that the Milwaukee Bucks have on that end. As I was telling y'all before, in the game against the Brooklyn Nets, Dennis Schroeder scored 29 points. Well, guess who scored 28 points for the Boston Celtics this time around? Not talking about Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. It was Peyton Pritchard off the bench who scored 8 three-pointers in this game. As you see on this play developing, they end up leaving Derek White and Peyton Pritchard both open for three-point shots with their backs turned towards these players. In this case, it leads to one of the 8 three-pointers that Peyton Pritchard made in this game, an uncontested one, as you can see. Here's another play that leads to Peyton Pritchard getting an easy three-point shot. Gary Trent is so caught up with Jrue Holiday, the ball handler, he just totally forgets that Pritchard is on the other side of the basket for an easy shot in the three-point corner, and he hits it. On this one, you see Damian Lillard getting backed down by Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown ends up losing the ball. At this point, I'm expecting Damian Lillard to get up on him and really make it tight for him so that if he tries to shoot, it's a contested shot. Or maybe he's trying to play the drive, but at this point, he's so close at the rim, you just got to get a hand up. But he doesn't really move, and instead, Jaylen Brown just shoots an uncontested shot as Damian Lillard watches. Some more defensive mistakes by the Bucks. As you see, Brook Lopez is guarding the rim. That's what he does best. But sometimes he forgets when you have a guy like Al Horford who's a stretch big, you got to go out and guard him on the perimeter as well. He totally forgets he's wide open. Al Horford hits a three. Also, Jaylen Brown was open for a quick second, but Taurean Prince, I believe it is on this play, does a great job in closing out Jaylen Brown or filling the gap before that pass could even have a chance or thought of being thrown over to his side. Instead, it goes to Horford. Same thing happened literally within a few possessions. Al Horford is left wide open for a three-pointer again. Brook Lopez notices it, but it's a little bit too late. He tries to close out. Horford puts the ball on the floor. This forces Giannis Antetokounmpo to rotate to try to stop Horford from driving, which leaves Tatum open for what should have been an easy alley-oop, but Horford threw the pass a little bit too high. I'm going to leave things there as far as the footage breakdown. If y'all are really interested in this kind of content, let me know. I had a few more clips I could have went through. And for those who are really into the storyline of this, or what could be a storyline, Grant Hill was at this game. He is the managing director of Team USA that deals with roster construction. If y'all don't remember, Jaylen Brown had called out Nike for what he thought was his exclusion from the team since he criticized Nike in the past. They are the sponsor for Team USA. Grant Hill was kind of talking about it, and he alluded to him being a conspiracy theorist. And well, in tonight's game, Jaylen Brown scored 30 points on 19 shot attempts. We could also get into the box score quickly since I'm mentioning that. The Milwaukee Bucks shot about 26% from the three-point line. I mentioned that in the Brooklyn game, they shot 30%. That seems to be an early pattern where they're not hitting a lot of three-point shots. We'll see how that goes as the season continues. Jrue Holiday at 21 points. Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo came to play. Giannis had 30 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Damian Lillard had 33 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Again, most of his points came from free throw attempts. Y'all let me know in the comment section what you think the identity of this Bucks team is, how they are moving forward. Do you believe in this roster? They got to get Chris Middleton healthy again. They could have definitely used him in this game as a third scorer to help out Giannis and Dame. No other Bucks player scored more than 10 points in today's game outside of Brook Lopez, who shot 5 for 14, missed all his three-pointers. Jason Tatum didn't play a good game as well either by his standards, but the Celtics still pulled it out. Anyways, again, y'all let me know what you're thinking about all of this, where the Bucks are going, what will they look like when Chris Middleton comes back. As always, salute for listening and peace.